The Unipower GT is, to my eyes, and styling is an objective thing of course, the most attractive of the mini-base sports cars of the 1960s. Built between 1966 and 1970, it was initially inspired by the Italian Abarths that combined simple Fiat components and lightweight bodywork. Launched in January 1966 at the Racing Car Show, it was the brainchild of automotive engineers Ernie Unger and Val Dare Bryan. Between the pair, they had amassed experience at Lotus, the Roots Group, and Ford, so the skills were certainly there to engineer something special. For the styling, they approached Ron Bradshaw, the very same designer who created the GT40, to create the GT's shape. He agreed on one condition: it would have to be done in secret. He was also working on the GT40 at the time, and he would have got into trouble if he was caught moonlighting. Unger and Dare Bryan's goal was to bring race car principles into a small and affordable sports car. To achieve that with modest power, a slippery shape and small frontal area would be required. To give the suspension a stiff platform to work from, a light but strong square tube space frame structure was designed. The aforementioned independent suspension would then be set up, and a mid-mounted engine would be used for both better balance, handling, and the desired low frontal area. For the engine, they looked to the BMC A series and gearbox from the Mini, as well as brakes, some suspension components, and steering parts from the Isigounis masterpiece. The original Mini was the perfect donor. Its tunable engine was mounted transversely with the gearbox in the sump. After all, it inspired the same layout for the Lamborghini Miura, albeit with a V12 unit. The Mini setup meant that the new mid-engine sports car would be both quick and nimble, whilst having very compact dimensions. However, in all, only 73 examples were ever built. It's a rare car, but it's still revered amongst enthusiasts in the know. So let's look a little bit deeper into what made this car so special. What they ended up with after Bradshaw put pen to paper for them was an elegant, well-balanced performance car for the road. The front end was low and narrow with fixed round headlamps within the smooth, sleek wings. The dash windscreen rose up from this attractive bonnet like that of the contemporary Lotus Europa, but the high rear deck to my eyes is more successful than the Lotus. Those rear haunches remind one somewhat of the Ford Mustang Fastback made famous in the Bullitt. Hand-built, the Unipower square tubular space frame chassis was made by renowned fabricators Arch Motors. The GRP bodywork was then bonded directly to it to increase stiffness, and the car was renowned for its rigidity. Thanks to all this careful design and diminutive size, it managed incredible lightness, weighing in at a whisker over 500 kilos. This meant that despite the relatively low power output of the BMC A-Series engines offered, either the Mini Cooper 998cc or the Cooper S 1275cc with 55 or 75 brake horsepower respectively, the car had an impressive power-to-weight ratio, just as intended. The BMC parts were obtained at a hugely discounted rate, thanks to Alec Isigounis' involvement in the project. The Unipower GT was shown to the Mini designer at BMC, who was so impressed with what he saw that he subsequently offered the components bits they needed at way below retail cost. This was a massive boost in helping to keep the price of the car low. Other parts were sourced from various manufacturers' shelves, including Triumph, Ford, and Vauxhall, all affordable, but each best for the job intended. It was a well-conceived, designed and engineered car that exuded quality. In spite of its lightweight and interior by acclaimed coach builders Wood and Pickett, it was certainly a special place to sit in for a journey. Unfortunately, however, by 1968, Unger and his then partner Piers Weld Forrester, who were known as UWF or Automotive Engineering and trading under the name Unipower Cars, were struggling to keep production going in high enough numbers. The Unipower GT, with revised dashboard and rear lights, was selling very well, with a number of orders yet to be fulfilled. But its hand-built construction meant that each example was incredibly time-consuming to produce. Combined with a cash-sapping racing program implemented at the UWF, production was unable to continue. A planned successor to the Unipower GT had already been started, design work well underway. Designated the Mark II, sadly it was not to be, as the company closed its doors in January 1970. The Unipower, like so many other independent sports car manufacturers, never got to fulfill their potential. Although never a kit car like the Cox GTM featured elsewhere in this program, we thought it an important car to feature here as a contrast. Which do you think the more attractive and successful design? Sales numbers and longevity favour the GTM, but the Unipower GT is still spoken of in hushed tones amongst enthusiasts. Of the 73 cars produced, a large number, approximately 40, still remain and have made their way across the globe in a testament to Ernie Unger and Val Bryan's original design. Unfortunately, you'll be hard-pressed to ever see one in the flesh, although I count myself extremely lucky enough to have seen several over the years. Should you find one for sale, prepare yourself for a full chassis rebuild if it hasn't been fully restored. Being bonded inside the body can hide a lot of rot in what would now be a 55-year-old car at least. Is it worth it? Definitely, due to its scarcity alone, but also because it is such a beautiful and fine handling machine. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please share with friends, leave your comments below and click on the thumbs up and the bell so that you'll be informed when future videos are made. Thank you ever so much, and we'll see you next time.